Hello and welcome back. This is part 2 in a series of videos where I resurrect this featherweight machine here that had been converted into a jigsaw. Now if you haven't seen the first video, I'll link it in up here, and that just shows what had been done to this machine. The little saw blade here has broken when so yeah, I tried to demonstrate this in use as a saw. It didn't quite work out that well. I broke the blade, and I was going to try and get another blade so I could do a better demonstration of how this machine performs as a table saw or a jigsaw. We're in a fairly heavy lockdown here at the moment, so I can't just hop down to the store and grab a blade. Could probably order one online, but I just wanted to get this done here. But yeah, take a look at that other video and you'll see the state of this machine here. This is the Centenary version of the Singer 221K Featherweight. And over here we've got a donor machine that I'm going to use for parts. This is going to be the donor, and hopefully I can take everything that's missing from this machine here, from this machine, and get this little one up and running here. So this video could be quite long. I'm not too sure, if I'll have to break it up into parts or not. I will put a long version on Patreon for Patreon only subscribers, so that'll be a Patreon exclusive. You can find my Patreon at patreon.com/sewing machines. I think where I'm going to start here is probably some of these components and underneath here. What I'll do also off camera is I'll go and clean, I'll clean all this area here, tidy all this up best I can before swapping the parts over. Okay, I just gave that a bit of a blowout there, get all the sawdust out of this sewing machine here. Yeah, we'll start by removing this here, some sort of guide for the blade here. So I think that's attached actually to the throat plate, so we'll go ahead and remove that. Now, I mentioned in the last video that, that this was a thing, and what I meant by that was it was a thing to convert sewing machines to jigsaws back in the day. I'm not sure exactly when it was popular to do, but it seems like an interesting model to use for a jigsaw. Oh yeah, so there's the little guide there for the saw blade. Someone's gone to a lot of trouble here to do this. So I'll take the needle clamp here off, so unscrew that. Is that going to come off? Needle clamp screw, and I think that has to come right out. Can I get this right? Out the bottom maybe. There is a hole here, so I might be able to just slide that down. There we go. Needle bar. Just have to work out why that's not coming off. I'll put that one aside, and here we have the donor machine. So I want to just start removing the parts that we'll use from this machine. Take the presser foot off there. Remove the throat plate or needle plate. I've always called it a throat plate. I think because the industrial machines, in the manuals and whatnot, they call them throat plates. Okay, we'll just get this off here. And we'll need to take the presser bar, the needle bar, and feed dog hook. You can see there's actually overspray on this, like paint overspray on the hook, because someone's painted this. This is the donor machine. It's suffered from a lot of corrosion and whatnot, and they've just spray painted it. Pretty rough. makes a good donor. So foot bar should just come up right through here. That's the presser foot bar. Needs a little bit of a clean up there. And then there's this little presser foot bar clamp here. Needle bar, let's get the feed dog off here. Just the 2 feed dog screws. 2 screws for the hook here. Yep, fairly tight. You might be able to see when I take this off here that there's a little bit of thread caught around behind it. Is it going to come off? Pretty sure those screws are loose. I'm going to take the grub screws right out here. You don't normally need to, but sometimes handy if something's not coming freely, just to make sure that there's no grub screw that might be sort of protruding into the shaft there. So there's a flat spot on that screw there. One screw there. Oh, that's tight. And then I've got this balancing collar here. That's really tight as well. Yep, that's got the hook free. It's pretty tight. You can see the shaft's free there. It's just that this here is holding things up here. Just to remove the grub screw. Let's have a look here. Right. Does that go onto a flat? That might go onto a flat. Yeah, that's pretty tight there. I'm just going to try and remove this hook, ease that out while I'm turning it there. There we go. It's got that hook coming off. Yeah, there. Lots of overspray. I'll clean that up though before we go putting it back into the other machine there. Okay, I've just been pulling like that. It's tapping this collar down the shaft there. There's the one of the gears on the horizontal shaft there. It's got it. And there's a little flat on the shaft there for the for locating the counterbalance there. I also need to work on getting this bearing out here as well, so I want to do that without damaging it, because that will be a brass bearing. Let's just get that loosened off. Just fully remove that grub screw just in case. There's some thread there that was caught in behind the hook there. Okay, so these locking nuts here, they're 3/8 inch. Let's loosen those. That's an eccentric screw, that one, so there's adjustment to be made there. That's something we'll sort out when we put things back together. So that's the rear, that's for the rear. I'll just screw that back in so we know what's what. Yep, should. That one there. That's the front one. So the front does your feed, back and forward feeding, and the rear one here is the up and down, so feed dogs up and down, so you get the feeding motion front to back and the up and down as well. That's those two there freed up. Probably want to disconnect these linkages here if I can. That one there. That's that one freed up. I think we can probably get away with loosening the bearings there now. One there. So I'll just see if I can, yeah, that's loose there now. If we're lucky, these two bearings, if you like, are not too tight. Hopefully, oh, I can see that one's actually, yeah, that one's moving really easily there. So I can push that one back out of the way. Hopefully we can possibly even get this one right out. It's quite loose. There we go. Just wiggling it out there. And that allows this whole bar here to come free. There we go. That one aside there, and then same with this one here. Just loosen these screws here. Okay, and then same deal, should be able to hopefully push. Yep, that one there has come out quite nicely. There we go. That one's come out as well. Just have to be careful of this linkage here. There we go. Those two out. Loosen those there. Reasonably tight. Zip. And we'll probably try and keep the orientation the same with these two here. I'll leave that intact there. I'll just pull the screws off. I'll leave that one there in the meantime. And then that crank should just lift out. Oops, there's the other screw. There's the crank there. And I'll try and keep the orientation the same there, so I can see there that the Simanco and the part number there is facing the inside of the machine there. And I'll get this off here like that and keep that orientation the same there. Yeah, makes you wonder what happened to the original parts, eh? They probably just got binned when all this was taken out. Okay, and the other crank is just loosely, you know, is like a fork type arrangement here, but it's attached to this here. And we should be able to get to that locking nut there that holds the lever on. There's a locking nut there. Okay, 1/4 inch. Yep. Yep, that's got it. And then we can unscrew this here. And then should be able to just push this so that the slider here just, you know, falls out the bottom basically. There we go, push that right in. There we go, and then that should just hopefully fall out. There we go. There's the slider there. Okay, rightio, what else do we need here? We need this bearing. Now, you need to be very careful when pushing one of these bearings out, because that's brass, which is quite soft. You don't want to be sort of hitting it with anything hard, you know, like a hammer or anything like that. I had to try and find what I had lying around to try and make something up to maybe try and pull this bearing out. Of course, I can't just scoot down to the hardware store, unfortunately, as I said before. So I've got a screw here with a washer on it running through the bearing there, and then on the other side here I've got this large washer across this piece of chassis here, and a screw nut there. And you can see here that if I screwed the nut up tight, it would pull the bearing through, but the bearing's in there very, very tight, and I don't have a, I mean, what would be better was it would be a hex head screw here. I've just got a Phillips or a straight one here, and I can't get enough sort of purchase on the screw there to pull this bearing through. So I thought maybe it'd be safe enough just to tap on this end here, considering that the washer here is spreading some of the load. So I'll just try some of that, just very light tapping there to see if I can get this to move. Well, the screws come loose, so you know that would indicate that the bearing is moving. So I'll just take up the slack with the nut there and give that another little tap there. Don't think that will be damaging the brass bush there. Yeah, I can see it moving. Yeah, it's definitely moving. Just tighten that nut again. Okay. Yep, it's coming now. And there we have the brass bearing there. The needle bar needs to come out of this one here. Right size screwdriver there. That should just pop down there. Just now, that's not going to come right through the bottom like the other one. As you can see, this one's actually been kind of hacked away out here, and you know, the hole's bigger here, so I could get the other needle bar through, but this one's a little bit tighter, being original and all. Let's just see if I should be able to take that needle bar or this needle clamp here off. I'll just remove this and remove that screw there. Now I did get that done off camera. It was actually just a little bit tight, that's all. Yeah, so that's right. That sits in just into the needle clamp, that little guide, like that there. and then that allows you to insert the needle bar. Yeah. So it was just a bit gunged up, I think, and it just took a little bit of wiggling there to get it free. Okay, well, I think we're at the point where we've got all of the parts out of the donor machine that we need. Yeah, this is, if we have a look here at the receiving machine, we are in pretty much a similar state with the parts that are required to go, or that are to be transferred. The only thing I was worried about was the grinding that's gone on here when the conversion was done. If we have a look, compare the two there, you can see that there's some grinding been done here, whereas, you know, this is more like just a parallel slot here, basically, where my finger is, whereas this one here, it's had all this here ground out to accommodate the jigsaw side of things. So yeah, just hoping that this this case here, this chassis here, is okay. I mean, if worst comes to worst, absolute worst comes to worst, I think we can probably transfer things back into here and make a good complete machine out of this one here. But the chassis as such, or the machine head itself, is actually in better condition on this one here. So a little bit of sawdust down in here still. There's sawdust in a sewing machine. Awesome. Just clean that out there. But I think I'll leave it at that at this stage, and I'll do another video showing the construction of the new machine, if you like, and things like adjustments and setting the timing and needle bar height and things like that. So yeah, keep an eye out for part 3. I hope you found that interesting and helpful, and thanks very much to my patrons on Patreon, and thank you very much for watching.